live, apparently.
I think we're live, but I can't see. See if we can make the thing full screen. Think. Okay. Can anybody hear us? Is all? Someone can post in the chat and just let us know if you can hear us. Okay. Hello, Sujak. Hey, Minty.
Yeah.
How you doing? Good. I think we're
Hi,
live.
everyone.
Hello, everybody. I am Rob.
I'm Rachel.
And yeah, so we thought we'd do another live stream. It seems like it's been a while since we did one of these. I think it was like the beginning of August the last time. So I've just got a few little bits of housekeeping, which we'll just run through at the beginning before we get into sort of the meat of it. First thing, I just wanted to let you know that as of probably next week and possibly the week after, I might not be uploading anything for a while because we're about to go on vacation. Going on Thursday, we're going off to Greece for about 10 days, so there might be a bit of lag before like the next video up. It's not because I've gone into hiding because of this David Icke thing, anything like that. I suppose, I suppose we can get into the whole into all the fun and games around that. But just some other little bits of housekeeping. So yeah, like I say, I'll not be uploading anything probably next weekend. I might just do some random thing, just film with my iPhone, but nothing sort of like, with the green screen and all my usual kind of editing shenanigans. If you guys do want to keep up with what we're up to on holiday, feel free to follow me on Instagram. There's a link in the channel banner somewhere. And yeah, I'll be posting sort of, pictures of sunsets and pictures of us we're going to Greece. We're going to go to the Parthenon, so all that kind of Greek temples and all that stuff. So I'll try and do some arty things. If you want to see that as it's happening, follow us on Instagram. Also, just since last time I did one of these, we've now got a Discord server up and running. I think the links are somewhere. I think I actually need to put it in the channel banner. So, but if anybody wants it, I will. There's a post in the community tab about how you get to the Discord tab. So what else have I got to tidy up? Just one thing. I'm still looking for artists to collaborate with in regards to sort of designing some kind of logos for t-shirts and stuff like that. So if there's anybody out there who wants to collaborate on, coming up with some new logos for the channel and stuff that I can put on t-shirts, and drop me a message. The email address is in the channel banner, and we'll suss something out from there. And I think that's about it. So I'll just see a few sort of quick questions popping up. Will we be doing any touristy stuff on holiday? Yeah, all we'll be doing is touristy stuff. That's all we're doing, mate. It's a family holiday, and we're going to be
Insta selfies.
Yeah. It's been, I mean, I don't need to tell you guys, it's been a crazy year. And so, yeah, we felt it and we know our kids have felt it. So we're just going doing a very touristy beach holiday. We're going to do a few things of like I said, checking out like we're going to Greece. So we're going to check out the Parthenon and stuff. But yeah, we're just going to really put our feet up and have 10 days drinking and getting fat and
sitting by the pool.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I've got a few drinks. So cheers, love.
Cheers.
Boop. So, just some of this to go through. Oh shit, my beer's going over. So I just wanted to cover sort of stuff that's in the pipeline now. Yeah, I guess a few of you guys might have seen that I've just released this video on Brian Rose, and I was completely oblivious that by doing this video on Brian Rose that I was kind of like getting into like this COVID-19 thing, which was not my intention at all. And I know that sounds stupid.
It's an oversight, wasn't it?
Yeah, to think I was kind of like looking at it from like, David Icke's a bit of a kook, Brian Rose is a bit too infatuated with him. And then as I saw the comments coming back in going, COVID this, COVID, I'm like, oh God, I don't want to get involved in this. I'm not. It's not my area. It's not my lane. I'm not interested in whether people think masks are a good idea or not. It's there. So yeah, that was a bit of a bit of an oversight. But yeah, we'll have to see how that one pans out. Just some other stuff I've got coming up next Tuesday. I will be doing a live stream. Not my live stream, his live stream with a guy called Destiny, who is like a sort of more of a kind of political commentator than the guys what I usually talk to. But he's also done some psychedelics, and he's published those kind of his trip reports on his channel, and he's a very interesting guy. So I'm looking forward to talking to him. We'll see where that conversation goes. But it's a kind of a different audience to what I would normally be exposed to. So hopefully we'll see if that, you know, how that pans out. And then the other thing that's in the pipeline is a trip report, but coming from Rachel's perspective, because she's recently been on. Well, why do you want to tell us what you've been up to?
I've recently been back on the San Pedro retreat, on my 3rd retreat, and it was very interesting indeed.
So that's something we'll get into more later on, because I think probably one of the last things that everyone's seen from you is us talking about how ayahuasca kind of like messed you up a bit. So I suppose the question would be, why would you dive back into this psychedelic?
I'm sure that's a very reasonable question.
Yeah. So we'll get into that. I just see the comment popping up there, Earthbound. Yeah, Destiny from Twitch, mate. So it was somebody requested, or someone sent me Destiny's videos and said that, you know, here's a guy who's had these psychedelic experiences. And one of them, at least the one where he had like a mushroom trip, it was a very... I really felt for the guy, because it seemed like his set and setting were very not optimal. So I reached out to Destiny. I said, do you want to have a talk about this? And I realised it's not his usual kind of political forte. But I was saying, look, if you want to take, you know, if we want to have a different kind of conversation from that, then, yeah, let's talk about just all about psychedelics. And, you know, we'll see where the conversation goes. But that's how we're coming at it. We're not coming at it from any kind of like political angle. So, yeah, Matt, I hope it's something you enjoy. Destiny's going to stream it live. It's going to be at 10 p.m. my time. So that's like, so like 3 hours from now it would be on Tuesday. And yeah, he's going to stream it live. I'm going to record it and then publish it on my channel. And yeah, we'll see, you know, what comes out of it. He's an interesting guy, and I'm looking forward to talking to him.
Streaming it on Twitch.
Twitch is his kind of main platform. Yeah. So what's your thing? Oh, okay. And the other thing, I want to do as part of this live stream is I'm going to give away one of these, which are these Chrysanthescope trippy kaleidoscope things, which I keep doing videos about. So for anybody who's completely in the dark, these are a kind of trippy kaleidoscope thing which I make with a friend as a kind of side project. I've got some videos about them if you're completely oblivious, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to give one away to somebody in this chat today. So to win it, you have to be here in the chat, which is good odds for you guys, because there's not a lot of people, you know, not a lot of people here at the moment. Certainly less than what I'd get, you know, in like sort of the normal video. So I wanted to do this as a live thing. And how are we going to do it? How should we pick a winner? Obviously, we'll do it at the end. We're not going to do it right now. But I think what we'll do is we're just going to pick a comment at random. So if you are watching and you want to have a chance of winning this kaleidoscope, just comment. If you've already commented, that's fine. Then you're already in the mix. And yeah, what we'll do is we'll pick one of you. I think you should pick somebody randomly. You can just do it with your finger, just blind,
okay, sure.
And just point. And that person, then if you contact me after the stream, if you send me an email with your address, and I will send you one of these, and I hope it brings you much enjoyment. So, is that all our housekeeping stuff out of the way? I think it is. So we had a few topics we thought we would get stuff rolling with, and this is just from stuff that came in through the comment sections or through our subreddit or through the Discord thing. So yeah, we've got a few sort of topics to kick things off, and one that came up was that there was a question around being psychonauts but also being parents. So Rachel and I have 2 children, one who is a teenager and one who is not far from being a teenager. And the question was around how do you balance, well, I think there's 2 parts to it. One is how do you balance this kind of life of being a psychonaut around your responsibilities as a parent? And then the other one was, do you think it's actually had any benefits? Like, has being a psychonaut helped at all in raising the children? So, yeah, where should we start with that one?
We can start with the last part. I mean, I think it's helped quite a lot, you know, with insight and stuff like that. Certainly 10 years ago, before I started all this, I didn't have the same sort of insight into my own feelings and my own reactions to to maybe perhaps challenging situations or something, or new situations, and I think it has helped me to have that and be able to think a bit more and think more, about.
Yeah, sort of, like I said, it's an empathy thing, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
And I think I'd agree. I think that would be the thing. I think like one of that psychedelics have kind of done for me. I was very, if I'm brutally honest, kind of like a bit pig-headed in my younger years, and very like sort of convinced I was always right, and very narrow-minded. And I think one of the things that psychedelics does, which everybody knows, and Terence McKenna talks about infinitely, is just smash open these conceptions of, who you think you are and how sure you are in your place in all this. And I think as part of doing that, it allowed me in particular to definitely have that kind of more empathy towards the kids.
And I was the opposite, I was like too emotional, too sort of wrapped up in like, not grounded enough. And for me, they've grounded me a lot, and that really helps a lot.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's the kind of interesting thing, that you were sort of over on one end of the
polarized.
spectrum. Yeah, I was on the other end, and we'd sort of met it in the middle, because I think there's the conception would be that psychedelics turn you into more of a hippie sort of thing, and I think for you particularly it did the opposite. You're much more
in the clouds.
much more grounded. So,
yeah.
But I think the real sort of it's one thing for us to say what kind of psychedelics do for us as parents, but I think the real sort of proof of the pudding is like what our children would think. Obviously, unfortunately, we're not going to bring them out on camera to sort of talk about them just yet. Maybe at some point in the future. But I would say the thing that's kind of sprung up to us, particularly as our oldest has moved into her teen years, is that it's not, I mean, like with anything with psychedelics, it's not some sort of magic bullet, and we still have extremely challenging times.
Same as any other parents who don't do psychedelics, isn't it?
Yeah, and just like any kind of others, when you have kids, they will throw things in your face whenever they can be very testing. And yeah, so our oldest will say to you, "Oh, this ayahuasca stuff, it's nonsense. You're wasting your time doing this ayahuasca."
You just sound mad.
Yeah.
But I think that when she first found out about it, she was she was younger, and she was very into it. She almost said that she wanted to do it, didn't she, when she was older? And now when they get to teenagers, they just want to rebel against anything. So of course, if your parents are into ayahuasca, then it's the most lame thing ever.
That's it. I think for those of you who are from England, you might be aware of like the sitcom Absolutely Fabulous, and in that sitcom you've got these kind of very new agey, sort of hippie, trendy sort of parent type, and the kid is the absolute opposite, and
really
he's just so square and just rebels against all of that. And that is our daughter to a T. She thinks like we are just so lame for being into it's like, it's so this psychedelics thing is yeah. So yeah, I think which is probably good for us, because in terms of parenting, I think we don't have to worry very much at all about our kids.
Usual.
Yeah, normally parents are worried about kids getting into drugs and sort of and ours are completely opposed to any kind of substances, because it's what their parents are into. We're like, it's
old people, it's so lame.
It's like I remember when I was a kid, and like my parents were into like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. And so just because they're into that, straight away I was like, they're rubbish. I never listened to it, but just, it's crap. So, yeah, that's what our kids are like with us around psychedelics. And another kind of similar theme question that came up for that was like around about being a Psychonaut couple, which I thought, I'm always loath to do this thing of like claiming to be an expert on anything. Like, I always try, and when we're doing stuff on the channel, I'm always putting it out there that this is an opinion, and, this is, I'm not an expert, I'm not a guru. But I think this is one area where I'd probably take a different stance, because me and Rachel, we have been together over like 20 years now. So we're doing something right there. And through that,
Psychonauts for 6 or 7.
I'd say serious psychonauts, right? We were like recreational.
Oh, yeah, not counting the kids.
Not counting all those wild 48-hour recreational drug binges. None of that.
Yeah, no, the spiritual side.
The spiritual stuff. When we became enlightened, that stuff. Yeah. Oh, so just seeing someone saying that is everything going okay with the video here? Someone saying it's buffering bad. Can everyone pick this up okay? Is the sound coming through? Just let us know in the chat, somebody. Let's take a quick swig of beer.
Drinking game. Everyone tells it's buffering.
I'll call. Anyone? Is it coming through okay? Minty, Stan, somebody let us know.
We should check on my phone.
We could do. Go on, check and see if we. It's all good. Oh, Nathan's just.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thanks, dudes. Right. Sorry then, Annie. I don't know why your things are buffering. Don't know it. Cool. Okay. What were we on about? So
being a couple.
Being woke, awesome being enlightened. That's what we were on about. Yeah.
Being the most awesome.
We're on about how much life sucked, and then we just had this amazing awakening, and now everything is just gravy. We never fight.
We never.
Yeah, we're just having, you know.
We never have a bad day.
Okay, let's cut the bullshit.
Okay.
Right, so I suppose like the kind of the crux of the question was like round about, you know, when you're doing things like retreats or going through difficult psychedelic experiences as you have and as I have, then it's I suppose the thing around being vulnerable and being able to be vulnerable in those situations, and that's a real test of the mettle of your coupling, basically. So I mean, I think that the first.
I think all couples and both sides, and we've had it both sides, haven't we? There's points where one member is really struggling and the other one is kind of at a loss of what to do, and it's really difficult on both of them, you know, when you're both on different paths, when either one of us is struggling and the other one's on cloud 9, or it doesn't tend to line up like you'd want it to, and you have to, you know, be prepared for that and just deal with it in the best way you can and support the one that needs support.
I mean, I remember like some of our ayahuasca retreats where like it was like you get to the end of the night and like, you know, the lights come up and it's like, I had the best night ever, and I'd be like, oh, it was awful. It was like the worst night of my life. And then you've got this kind of emotional mismatch, and you have to sort of fit yourself together. But I think the thing there is that when you go into something like that, you are, as long as you go in understanding that this is it's a solo activity. Yeah. You're going in as a couple, but you are
working on yourself only.
Yeah. And I think I would always strongly advise against people who go to these things to try and strengthen themselves as a couple, because you never know how it's going to turn out. And so if one of you goes like expecting, like a week of the utmost intimacy, and then on day one, the first person's head just falls out their ass because of some traumatic thing that came up. Yeah, that's just you're just going to collide at that point. So
yeah, you need to give each other plenty space, don't you?
And that's something we've actually even talked about doing physically, is that when you go on a retreat, perhaps don't even be next to each other. Like, don't even, like if you're doing ayahuasca, don't even sit next to each other. I mean we've always ended up doing in the end, but we talked about it, you know.
We have, yeah. And a lot of our retreats are separate anyway, and we get a lot of value out of the separate ones. Mm-hmm. You know, like I just went to Italy to do San Pedro last month, and that I was alone for that. You're often in Valencia, aren't you, with ayahuasca? And I think the solo ones are actually easier.
Yeah, for sure.
You're not having to worry about each other.
But I think there's a thing there about you can't get hung up that you're both going to make the same kind of progress at the same time. And I think you and I are actually a really good example of this, because as we kind of, you know, have said, you know, quite clearly, there was a point where Rachel said, I'm done with ayahuasca. I don't want to sort of, you know, I feel like I got that message. Whereas I'm still
just starting at the...
Yeah, I was just starting to get some really positive results from it.
I remember feeling really worried at that time because, you know, I felt like, I'm stopping here and you're just setting off. I felt like we're going to drift apart, you know. It was a real concern at the time.
It's, I don't know if I felt that same kind of concern, because I guess it was something I'd already started solo anyway. By when I first went to Peru, I went on my own. So I don't think it was maybe as much of a culture shock for me as it was for you. But I guess I did have that sort of concern that, you know, maybe the world that I was then going to be in, of being sort of emotionally open and sort of, you know, all this shit's going on, and I need to explain to someone that we were going to lose that connection somewhere. Yes. But I don't think that's not been the case at all.
Been really lucky in that respect.
Yeah, and
we've worked hard.
we worked hard. We paid our due wokeness things. We spent our wokeness points wisely. But that sort of led to like sort of me going down the ayahuasca road and you going down the San Pedro road. So maybe that's a sort of good place to dive into that. Like, what's you been up to with San Pedro, Rachel? Tell us.
Well, the cards told me to go. It's true. Yeah, I went exactly 1 year ago in August, and
where did you go?
I went to some location in Italy.
All right.
That was offering a San Pedro weekend retreat, and this was not too long after my first one, which was the kind of catalyst for me sort of getting over my initial troubles with integration with the ayahuasca. So I went to Peru and I did the San Pedro for the first time. You know, I've got this picture on Reddit, like my cloud, my
She
cloud.
loved it.
It was really, really transformative for me. And I was very keen to, you know, I was like, this is my next chapter, this medicine. So a few months later, you know, I found out that there was a retreat in Europe not too far away. So I jumped on it, had this amazing experience. Very, very healing, very helpful, and just fucking awesome and trippy as well. So, and I integrated that pretty good. And, this year was, you know, with the COVID thing, and then I've had, you know, a few personal issues and stuff like that. Obviously I wasn't planning to travel at all, but I saw on Instagram that they were doing the same retreat on the same day. And at this retreat, this is where I first got into tarot. Now, I'm not like super woo-woo about tarot, but I do really like, I do like, you know, really find it very interesting, and, you know, it's a nice hobby to have. And
well, let's just stop there a minute, because it is interesting, and it is something that we would like previously turn our noses up at quite a bit. And I think what we come to appreciate with tarot. So I think, you know, it's not like we don't use it as some sort of like divination tool for the future, but it's a bit like with how I describe like DMT experiences. You have a DMT experience, or you put some tarot cards in front of you. You shuffle the deck and you put the cards in front of you, and then you interpret these signs, these visions, and see what it means to you. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win the lottery on Tuesday or something like that. But it's a reflection of your mental state, isn't it?
Yes.
And even if just what you make of the card, I don't necessarily.
It's exactly that. It's interpretation. You know, you can interpret each card in a number of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are like dedicated to, you know, to finding what you're looking for, then you'll interpret it. And it's just like interpretation of dreams.
Yeah.
Super useful. You know, very famous from Carl Jung. And like this, the reason I got into it was actually quite sort of not serious. The place where the retreat was, they had one of these spinning ones, you know, like
a wheel, like it was like
wheel.
a clacky wheel, wasn't it?
And it made a really delicious noise.
It was like Wheel of Fortune, wasn't it? It's like the TV game show wheel. Yeah, it was like
beautiful. And I had someone do it, and I was like, this is before I took the medicine, and like this is like when I was waiting around, just like, you know, checking out the place. I was like, oh, that makes a good noise. I'm like, I'm gonna video myself for Instagram. So I did it to make the noise, and, you know, I got whatever card. I just didn't know what it was. Just walked off. And then later on, after I took the medicine, I went back and did another one, and I was like, right, I'm gonna, you know, look these up later, because I had them both on video, and I did one after the ceremony as well. And when I got home and I interpreted them, I was like, holy shit, these things just completely tell me what my story was, and tell me where to go from here. And I was quite impressed by it and blown over. I sort of started getting into tarot, and you bought me this awesome tarot set for my birthday, didn't you?
Best husband ever.
So anyway, I've digressed a lot here. Back to the story. So I was back on Instagram. I'm not always on Instagram. But I was back on there, and this retreat popped up again, and I was like, oh, should I go? This pandemic.
Let's just, before we get into the new retreat, let's try. I'm going to burp because of the beer. Excuse me. Okay, so what if we made this statement around, ayahuasca triggered this relapse of your illness, then what was it about San Pedro that you felt okay rolling those psychedelic dice again? Yeah,
that's a good question. I do want to put like a sort of a disclaimer, a caveat thing into that statement, and I have said that on the bad trips video that it was a catalyst for my relapse, and I do believe that to be true. My therapist agrees with that, but also, and he does agree with this too, that it was the catalyst for me getting better. There's no other way I would have, the penny would have dropped without the ayahuasca. So I thank ayahuasca for that.
Yeah.
And I needed to go through what I went through in order to accept it.
Yeah, which is kind of what I would say all along. You have to go into the deep water to sort of come out the other side, and that was your deep water, I think.
It was really deep.
With sharks and shit, crocodiles and...
Yeah, so my last ayahuasca retreat was on the same one as my first San Pedro, and it was actually the day before. And that was the last time I drank, a proper dose. And this was kind of like closure for me, because basically the whole trip none of it was dark at all. It was very focused on, you're stronger than you think, you can do this, you're not broken, blah blah blah, this type of thing. So it was really a good sort of closure. And I'm not saying I'll never go back to ayahuasca, but it was a good closure.
It was that chapter, wasn't it?
Yeah. And my new chapter was San Pedro, and San Pedro is, I don't want to repeat myself too much because you're making a video about this, and I've said a lot of this in the video. But like ayahuasca is so ethereal and dark and like up here, whereas San Pedro is super grounding, and grounding is something I really needed after what I'd been through with the integration as well. I found it very grounding. It's very light. It's a lot more just less challenging for me. And it just seemed right. It just seems like, I can't really put into words precisely why. It's quite personal to me. It just seems like that's my way now. Like that was the calling I got. I got a calling for it, and that's at the moment. That's excuse me. That's my current medicine.
Yeah, exactly. It's what's. I know what you mean when you say it's hard to put into words, because that's kind of what I'm like with ayahuasca. And if you try and put into sort of words, particularly with ayahuasca, it just sounds horrific. But it does. The bottom line is it makes you feel. For me, it makes me feel better, and for you, I think that was it. San Pedro was the thing where you felt like you were getting some kind of healing from it, and it was.
Yeah, I felt the healing from ayahuasca, but it was hard and difficult for me. Whereas San Pedro is something that just seems to, harmonize with me a lot more easily, and I can work out with less help from others, myself.
So you went away. So you went to this retreat recently, and like I say, I've got a video in the pipeline.
Yeah, because I'll just get this bit out, because I'm wondering why I was waffling on about tarot. So, this came up like a week before, and I was like, oh, should I go? We've got this pandemic thing on, and I've had a rough summer, and I don't know, and it's so late, and, so short notice. So I drew some cards on it, some tarot cards, and they told me to go. So, it was just...
Oh, there you go then. It was in the cards.
It was a year since my tarot anniversary. So I went, and it was very helpful and transformative. It's completely different to the others. It was
even to the previous San Pedro. It was completely different.
Yeah. And I think it's because I was given tapered dose.
Right.
I was given a lesser dose because I know the shaman who had provided it, and I spoke to her about I wanted to give disclosure about my current physical state, and so she gave me an adjusted dose, which was a bit less. So this dose was a lot better for sort of the meditative aspect of it, which I am so shit at. Yeah,
Rachel knows she means she's really good. We meditate all the time.
Well, I try, but I'm not very good at it. And I was able to meditate. I was able to think clearly. I was able to be in the present moment for the whole time. That's some other thing I really struggle with a lot, being in the present moment. And although it wasn't quite as fun as previous trips, I think I got a lot more out of it. You know, sometimes they say less is more, and in this case, for what I needed, if I'm going through a serious reason and not just a trip balls, then it was more. Well, less was more. It was good.
Awesome.
So I've been feeling a lot better since then.
And you think is this something you think you'll do again, like sort of next year?
Absolutely. Well,
maybe we'll both go next time.
I'd love that. I'd love to do it with you. Yeah, I've got to finish integrating first. I admit I have not put enough time into that as I would like to have done. Life happens, you've got other stuff to do, but I've not completely neglected it. But I won't take any more psychedelics till I've integrated this one. But this is my medicine, and I'll definitely be doing some more.
Okay. So that's what you've been up to. So
what have you been up to?
Yeah, what have I been up to? What have I been up to? Well, so I tried something new recently, which I put a video out the other week. Was it last week? I can't remember. Last week, yeah. Which was, I tried Amanita Muscaria for the first time. And this was something I never really imagined I was going to get around to taking, because I grew up in England. When you grow up in England, your parents and your grandparents say, don't eat those funny mushrooms. The bright ones are the deadly ones. They'll kill you. They'll kill you dead. And so you kind of have it baked into you very early that that if you eat one of these mushrooms, it's just going to absolutely kill you. And it was only through my interactions with the channel Amanita Dreamer, who's just an awesome lady, that I sort of realised, okay, I think this is something I felt like it was kind of calling to me a bit. And so we got hold of some, and I did a dose of Amanita Muscaria last week. And it's a funny thing, because it's not psychedelic in the way that's the psychedelics that I'm used to. But it was definitely I'm glad for the experience, and it's something I would.
Wait to try it. Sorry to interrupt you. You made it sound awesome.
Which bit sounded awesome? Which bit appealed to you? Because I was just rambling. There was a bit where I was just rambling complete shit, and we did get quite a bit of footage, didn't we? I did, yes. Yeah, there was a bit where I was kind of going, I think I'm a space shuttle, and I think I need to get into space, and I need to work out how much fuel to get, I'm going to edit all this footage into a video, which hopefully you guys will find entertaining. Well, you seem to find it entertaining, didn't you?
Yeah, it was very entertaining, but it looked really well. Like the way you described it as well, it sounded like something I'd really like to try.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was. I'm looking forward to trying it again. And then the other kind of like unexpected thing that came out of it for me was just this painkiller effect that it had, which was just a sort of cherry on the cake. And that I was like, oh wow, I feel like all my chronic pains that are normally bugging me are gone away. And a few people have asked me during this week, has it come back? Have the pains come back? Or how long did this painkiller effect last for? And it's the pain hasn't like gone away completely, but I think, and it is coming back. I'm noticing it coming back, but it's not bugging me as much. It's not on my mind. I think that's for anyone who's got chronic pain, like if you've hurt your knees or if you hurt your arm or something like that. The thing that gets to you, it's almost like the knowledge that it's there. And if you can forget that, even if the pains are there, but if you can forget about it, forget that it's on your mind, then that in itself is like a godsend. It's a big holiday. And I just noticed I'm not as bothered by it at the moment. Even though if I stop and think about it, I can go, oh right, yeah, it's there. My shoulder's kind of hurting a bit. But yeah, this is really good, especially because we're going on holiday next week, and it kind of sucks to sort of when you're trying to relax. It's like skeletons falling off. So yeah, that was a good one. But I'm going to do another video of putting together, all the sort of, there was quite a lot of footage that we captured from that experience. So yeah, I see like a few comments building up. So let's just I'll have a quick flick through. And just to remind you, about halfway through the stream, so yeah, I'm going to give away one of these at the end. Stay tuned, guys. Going to give one away. We'll pick it at random through some completely arbitrary means. So right, let's have a look. See if anyone's. I saw somebody asking before about. Someone was asking about where was the retreat that you went to, the one in Europe, the San Pedro. So what I'd say is let's not go into it here.
I did sign a disclaimer saying that I wouldn't give precise names and dates, but I could perhaps do that privately.
Yeah. So yeah,
it was not too far from Rimini. I can say that much, can't I?
Well, you have done, so I'm sure that's fine. So yeah, what would say is that with these some of these retreat groups, they can be quite under the radar and stuff. So it's not something I'd want to openly broadcast. But by all means, if anyone's interested in knowing about that particular retreat or any of the other things,
they do have open Instagram and Facebook pages that we can just put in.
Well, what I'd say is just drop me an email. So it's adeptuspsychonautica@gmail.com. If anyone's interested in any of the things that you hear us talk about, drop me an email and we'll send you details or try and put you in touch with somebody who can send you those details.
I believe they also do other stuff as well. Like I think they do ayahuasca too, and they do some
Don't whisper too much.
Sorry, am I whispering?
You were going a bit quiet then, so.
Yeah, I think they do other things as well, not just San Pedro. Like they've got some different thing going on all the time. They're very active.
Okay, so cool. Right, so let's have a look. See some other comments. So that's about asking about Brian Rose and Destiny. Someone from Amanita Dreamer fan, she told us about you. Yeah, I've got to say, Amanita Dreamer is one of my favourite YouTubers, and I think it's just because she's so kooky. She's like, she's the sort of person like you kind of like I'd want to be like my big sister sort of thing, and she's just so into that mushroom. Like she's just
passion for it.
Yeah, she's just razor focused on this mushroom, and yeah.
And if you watch her videos, she always gives you a treat at the end. And
yeah,
it's always the best.
She'll do like a clip of cats or something at the end. So
you've spoiled it, but
well, I'm not spoiled it because everyone likes cats.
Is there anyone asking about Iboga?
No, not this time.
I actually want to talk about that.
You want to talk about Iboga? Well, go for it.
Well, it's kind of I am really interested in it, and I think I have the calling for it, but there are some things I need to get out of the way before I could try it. But I'm very interested. I want to go. I want to go to Gabon. I want to try Iboga.
All right. Yes. Let's just break this down about what's going to be involved with this. So, Iboga can be like a sort of 24 to sort of 72 hour experience. Yeah. And so there's places where you can do it in Europe, like retreats and stuff. But you want to do the full whack. You want to go to Africa. Yeah. To Gabon, which is like, and you really have to go to the middle of nowhere to do these things.
We did that for the jungle.
I think it's even more in the middle of nowhere for one of these Bwiti ceremonies. Yeah. So you join one of these. Is Bwiti the tribe or the religion? I forget.
I think it's the tribe, but I'm not sure.
Okay. So you get given like a Bwiti name, don't you, and stuff.
Yeah.
And that for me, I draw the line there. Because 24 to 72 hours is just way too much.
I know.
I'm actually mad keen for it.
I am very keen for it. The couple of things I have to get out of the way first is first I have to weight restore. I need to get my BMI up to at least 16, and also I need to go through some cardiology tests, which are coming up in a couple of weeks. And then if that's all passed, then as soon as I get my weight up, then I'll be looking into it, I think.
But what is it that you think is calling to you? Is it just the pure the wanting to explore something new, or is it because of some kind of effect that you've heard it has that you want the benefit of?
I guess it's kind of a little bit three things. One is the kind of cliche of the plant calls to you that we can't really sort of elaborate on that much. It's just I felt the calling since we're in the jungle. I knew that would be one of the next things on my radar, long-term radar sort of thing.
And you want to do the actual plant. You don't want ibogaine. You want
I want the plant.
You want the plant thing where you're eating the big mushy balls of bark stuff.
The second thing is, it's very well known for its uses in treating addictions. I think my condition, my eating disorder, is very akin to an addiction, and I have been told that I may get better, but it's never going completely away, and I'm always looking at things to try to help, and every little thing that I do try helps. Ayahuasca helped a great deal. San Pedro has helped me with that. I'm in psychoanalysis now. It's helping me a really lot, and I'm open to trying this as well. Just to fine tune as much as I can and get as much close to a normal person as I possibly can be. And the third thing is just curiosity. Being a psychonaut, like I just want to see what it's like. So those are my 3 reasons.
I must admit, I'm super curious.
Well, you can video me. But I've got to pass these.
I'm not going to come to Gabon to sit there for 72 hours just to film you. You can find some other sucker to do that. I'd definitely come with you if it came. Yeah, if we ended in that situation. But yeah, and I do wonder, like, would my curiosity override it? But I just
You have got your issue with your epilepsy.
Yeah, I think it would actually be dangerous for me to do it. So.
And like I say, I don't know if I can do it yet. I need to see if I pass these tests. But
I can't believe it's like the one time when no one's asked about Iboga and we've gone into a big thing all about Iboga. Right, let's see whatever other people need. So Awaken Enthusiast says, I had a dream about you. I went to an ayahuasca retreat in my dream and you were the person that guided me. Oh, no joke. It's a sign. Cheers, mate. I hope it was a good dream anyway. I hope I guided you well within the dream. From Sina Anne, I enjoyed your video on the subject of taking Amanita Muscaria. You did an awesome job. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Moringa, dropping in from FL. Is that Florida?
Yeah.
Florida, Alright, so Hawaiian baby wood rose. Is that right? HBWR? Hawaiian baby wood rose seeds, aren't they? It's like a...
I don't know much about them.
Yeah, I think it's a seed. I think it's some sort of psychedelic in it. I think it's an LSA, I think it is. Or something.
Oh, yeah, I think I maybe have heard of those.
Yeah. I've not done them myself, mate, but let us know if you've done them and what you think of it. Is it something worth checking out? Okie dokie. From Robert K, here's an interesting question. Any thoughts on reports of near-death experiences and the similarity to a DMT trip? So... I nearly made a video about this and I got distracted and it turned into something else. But I think my experience, I think I do have a bit of experience in this area, although not in the way that you might expect me to. I'm not going to tell you that I've had a near-death experience. But what I have had, so first of all, I've had plenty of DMT breakthrough experiences, and a lot of those have been involved around messages of kind of putting my mind at rest about what comes after death, because at one point that was something that really haunted me. So the other thing that I've had, which is like an experience of consciousness or consciousness not being there, is basically having a full grand mal epileptic seizure where your brain completely shuts down. Now, this is something that not a lot of people have, and trust me, you don't want it. It's not a pleasant experience, but it does give you an experience of not being there, which is very similar in a sort of a way to to anesthetic or something like that. In that, you go to sleep and you still have a notion of being there, but when you have a seizure, you don't, and that's one thing that that comes into mind when people talk about, you know, the theories of like the brain being a receiver of consciousness. Because I've had that sensation of having my brain completely overloaded and switched off, and it didn't feel like consciousness was there at that point. But I've also had these DMT experiences of feeling like consciousness was elsewhere. So it's a funny one. Again, I'm going to have to think about this one a bit more to put my sort of thoughts together in it. But yeah, it might be something I do a video on at some point in the future. But I think it's an interesting phenomenon, even if it's a purely just a psychological thing that's happening. Let's have a look. So Sujak asks, you touched on the subject dealing with, you know, being a psychonaut with your kids, but how did you deal with your parents and extended family that do not do psychedelics? And I think this is one where it was actually very easy for us. We were just very bold and just told them outright. So yeah,
They've all been really accepting.
They have. Yeah. Our parents, our entire families have been great. To the point where, you know, Rachel's parents come over and look after the kids for like a week or two while we disappear off to Peru. And the kids love it because they get to spend time with the grandparents, and the grandparents love it because they get to spend time with the kids. And we love it because we're like, yay, tripping balls. So yeah, it wasn't a sort of there wasn't really a coming out process for us. We just told them that we were doing it. And we were honest, very honest about it. And we showed them all like the videos of people throwing up and stuff, and people saying that they shit the pants. And we told them that this is what we were going to do. And I think your mum thought we were nuts, didn't she, at first?
Yeah, for sure.
But then, and this is the bit which I always advocate for on this channel. We came back, and we hadn't gone mad, and we had, I think, a much more positive outlook. Yeah. And we didn't try and evangelize about these things. And this is the way to do it, I think, with these substances. If you're going to get into these substances, then if you start raving about DMT and entities and stuff like that to somebody who is not of that mindset, they're going to think you've lost your shit. And possibly rightfully so. But if you show them, if you come back and demonstrate that this has had a positive effect, then people will start asking, like, what's going on with you? Like, why is, you know, you've changed, like, this is for the better. And then you can start telling them, I did this thing, you know. So always promote through your actions, not through just going on about entities and stuff like that. But yeah, I think we were very lucky with our extended families, mate. Yeah. Let's have a look. Mm-hmm. So Franco's asking about San Pedro. Yeah, just drop us an email, Franco. We'll see what we can sort out for you. From Constable, random question. Thoughts on entities and memorable encounters? You got any thoughts about entities and memorable encounters?
I do have some memorable encounters. I'm not sure quite what to make of them. Most of them were on DMT. There's the vaporized form, and my perception of the entities visually were like they were some kind of cross between a female humanoid shape and an octopus, and they would come all around me, and they'd be kind of like quite floaty, and they sort of communicated via telepathy. They didn't speak or anything. I didn't get this Terence McKenna, hey, you're here, nothing like that. They didn't have an expression, but it wasn't like it was almost like I just wasn't advanced enough to understand it. It appeared to me like they were neither welcoming nor hostile. They expected me to understand, read their thoughts, but I just didn't have the capacity to do so because I was less advanced than them. Mm-hmm. That's the thing I got from that. My most recent experience with entities was in the jungle on ayahuasca, and that was during this the really destabilizing trip. It was towards the end when I was like, what the fuck is going on? I've got no clue. And these entities were cubes of amber sort of translucent light, if that makes sense. And they were kind of made this weird, squidgy, most alien sound ever. It was kind of, all I can describe it as squidgy, and I couldn't try to recreate it without sounding like a twat and it getting completely wrong anyway. But there were two of them, and they approached me and they tried to tell me something, and I couldn't understand, so I cried. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I thought, God, these things are going to come and help me and explain. I tried to explain. I was like, what do you mean?
This is like when you're in like, when adults, sometimes you see a toddler and you say, are you okay? And you just,
yeah, I don't know what to make of them. I mean, I believe that they were definitely real. Whether or not they're physically real is debatable, but you know, if they weren't,
they'd like transcend. They're real within that realm, and that's as real as
you know, it's like that. Whether you're a believer is in a different dimension, then, and these things are real in that dimension, or there's some manifestation of something within my psyche. Either way, those are both real things. Like, even if it's just something in my psyche, that's real, and I don't know the cubes were on the octopus.
Well, this is why I kind of always say, like, I don't think it matters. You know, it doesn't matter whether they're aliens or whether it's Jungian archetypes.
I mean, I could probably say just from those two things, the very fact that when I smoked DMT and I saw these women octopus things that didn't speak to me, and then I saw these cube things which I think were masculine, but I don't want to misgender them. And you know, they did speak to me, but I couldn't understand them. See, this was before I did all my integration, and this was when I wasn't in touch with myself, so I wasn't communicating with myself, my inner self. Since then, I've done a lot of shadow work, and now I'm in touch with my shadow, my persona. I'm sure there's some archetypes I haven't worked on yet, but in being in touch with those two has really been eye-opening as to how closed my eyes were before as to different aspects of myself, and that kind of like highlights, you know, I met maybe an aspect of myself that I just couldn't talk to because I just wasn't nowhere near on that level.
And the fact there was two of them, I think, is significant in particularly with what you're going through. I'll just throw in sort of my I mean, I've had a lot of entity experiences, and I think, you know, there's some of my early DMT ones where I would be very vocal in talking to these things because that they would like bathe me in like feelings of love and acceptance.
Did they speak to you in words, or is it telepathic?
It was telepathic. It's like it's kind of beamed directly into your head, and or even just like you feel it. And you know, there's some videos I did in the very early days, which I don't think I've ever published, of me like having very vocal interactions with these entities. So, but again, what they are is, if this is a psychological construct or this is like an archetypal, you know, thing written into your DNA, or whether it is actually aliens, I don't think it matters, and it certainly, I don't think it's something we're going to get to the bottom of in our lifetime. So I think the key is accept it for what it is. Yeah, take it for what it is and get what you can out of that relationship. So hopefully that helps. Mushroom Stan asks, San Pedro is mescaline. Yes, mate, San Pedro is mescaline cactus. Someone else asking about Hawaiian. Oops, let's get in. So Franco asks, in a retreat that offers both San Pedro and ayahuasca, is it better to do one before the other, or it doesn't matter? I would say, I think the sequence is important, and the sequence should be ayahuasca as many times as you're going to do ayahuasca, and then San Pedro comes at the end. San Pedro is like what Rachel described earlier. It's the way you close a chapter. So you might have, you know, when we did it on retreat, it was like a week of ayahuasca and then a San Pedro.
Some people may dispute that. I mean, we haven't tried it the other way around. So, but in my opinion, I would agree with you too. I think, you know, it's better to get the heavy, dark stuff done first, and then ground yourself with because ayahuasca can be very ungrounding. You know, you need to be grounded in order to be able to do your integration. So
I mean, there was one that when I can't remember where it was. It was one we did in the jungle where we did a week of ayahuasca retreats, and the final ceremony, the Friday night ceremony, was a nightmare for me.
Me too.
I think I had it worse. So then you've got to leave the ceremony like still completely shaken up by the experience. You got to leave the retreat, completely shaken up. But San Pedro is just such a joyous experience. It's very, I think it's very difficult to have a bad time on San Pedro. It's just
I've seen people struggle on it, but that's on extremely high doses.
Yeah.
And, you know, whereas ayahuasca, the standard dose is a struggle for most people. This is like, you take a standard dose and you tend to have, it can be as transformative as you want to make it, but it's going to be a lot easier and a lot more fun.
So I would think, if the retreats that we've been on, where they do both ayahuasca and San Pedro, it's always been ayahuasca then San Pedro. Lawrence Boker says, you should see the art I make of the creatures. I need to email you. Please do, mate. I'd love to. Yeah, we love seeing people's art. If you guys got anything you want to share with us, then drop us an email at Adeptus Psychonautica at gmail.com. I'd love to see it, Lawrence. Nathan King asks, how do you finally break through the fear of trying ayahuasca? I'm feeling the call, but man, it is intimidating.
Take it one step at a time.
Yeah, and Nathan, it's...
Book the retreat. That's it. That's all you want to do. Then just get on a train or a plane or whatever. Just think about that. Then get to the place. Just absolutely one step at a time. Go and sit in the Maloka. No, no sort of pressure into drinking. And then when your name gets called, just walk. Just walk. That's all you're doing is walking. Sit down, and then when they give you the cup, just drink. I mean, it sounds like I'm being condescending there, but I'm not. I think it one step at a time.
Yeah,
step,
and the good thing about going on a retreat like that is that you can put yourself on autopilot. Yeah. Because when you get on a retreat, I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily be a retreat in the jungle or something like that. Just wherever you go on a retreat, and this is why I value the retreat structure over, just sort of doing it myself. You surrender yourself to a program, to an experience. All you've got to do is turn up, and then once you turn up, it just happens. The whole thing happens. You do the ayahuasca circles. You get called up. You go through it. You eat your meals. You laugh. You cry. You go through that process because it's happened now, and that's even more so if you do something in the jungle, because then you are just completely surrendered. You are so out of your depth.
Yeah, I find it always helps me as well with the nerves, and they don't go away the second, third, or fourth, or fifth.
Get worse.
It always helps just to remind yourself that you don't have to drink. You can attend a ceremony and not drink and still get some benefits from it. Mm-hmm. And I've attended one ceremony where I did not drink, and it was still crazy as fuck. Like, you don't have to drink, and knowing that, you feel a little less like there's a dagger over your head.
There's no sword of Damocles.
And when it comes to it, you will know deep down whether it's right for you, and you can be terrified and still have this wave of calm when you know that that's what you need, and you just go and you just drink, and once it's down, you will feel calmer. And then it's just wait till it takes itself from there, doesn't it?
I think an interesting thing with this, and we've talked about it before, but I did a recent interview with Dick Kahn, who's this kind of what he calls an unsanctioned DMT researcher, and his claim to fame now is somewhere between 300 and 600 DMT experiences. Wow. And he says it still terrifies him, and it still terrifies me, and I'm sure it does really. The prospect of doing just push that door. Yeah, the prospect of doing, hold on, that was a doorbell. Yeah, doing DMT or doing ayahuasca, it doesn't get easier. And I don't mean that to sound sort of like, over dramatic or scary. It's just the way once you've tasted that, the void of potential ego dissolution, then of course you're going to be scared of doing it. But it's scared of doing a lot of things. You just get on with it. But Nathan, I think the short answer to your question, mate, I would recommend looking at doing a retreat. And if you want some recommendations from where I would say, I'd look on my channel. I've got some reviews. Depending on where you want to go, if it's somewhere in Europe or somewhere in South America, we can give you different recommendations. Or drop me an email, mate, and we can have a chat about it. Franco says, have you done Cambo by any chance? Yes, we have. I can't actually show you now, but we've got the scars. Don't start getting. We both got Cambo scars. Okay, so Rachel got a tattoo made around her Cambo scars, which I do. You'll be able to sort of see, but there's a little dot
So
there.
that's the original scar, and then obviously that represents a vine.
Oh, I'm gonna have to get mine out now. Hold on. Right, okay, let's do scars. I don't want to get too much belly out. But right, so the 2 dots there. There's actually a lot more scars down here, but the 2 dots, that was my first Cambo scars here, these 2 dots. So, yeah.
You've done many though.
I've done a lot more Cambo, and I've actually been feeling the call to do it again recently, but I've not gotten around to it. So yeah, I like Cambo.
I liked it a lot too. It's so calming, and it just makes you feel a lot better physically as well. We were really, I tried it for the first time I went to Peru, and we were really struggling from jet lag, and it made that just disappear. Just completely.
It's not a psychedelic experience as such,
No,
but it's a very good experience. Normally, they'll include Cambo as part of a retreat structure, so if you get the chance, it's worth checking out. Okay, and let's have a look. Beth asks, do you prefer paying for retreats or home extraction? Personally, I prefer retreats. I have done home, sort of like farm ayahuasca brews. I'm going to do a video on this. There's a kind of a, if you go on like ayahuasca forums, there's some people who will strongly say you should only ever do ayahuasca with a shaman in a retreat, and if you do it outside of that, you will die, or some other nonsense. I don't believe that's true. And then there's other people who say, yeah, shamanism is bullshit, retreats are bullshit, it's overpriced bullshit, you just do it at home. That's not true either. The truth is somewhere in the middle, and it's going to vary depending on what's sort of right for you.
I think you get out of it what you put in.
Yeah, but it is, I would say, there is something to that retreat structure. It's you're basically taking a holiday for your soul. So you get in, specifically if you go somewhere like Peru, you're going to be in the jungle. It's paradise. It's paradise. It's like the Garden of Eden. You're going to be there for a week. You're going to have people all around you completely doting on your well-being. All they're interested in is your well-being. You're going to eat the healthiest food you've ever eaten. You're going to be doing like some kind of medicine pretty much every day. Some sort of activity. You're going to be meeting monkeys and tarantulas and sloths. It's the trip of a lifetime. This is like literally, you will be. Most people will never have experienced this. And yeah, that costs a bit of money, but it is, of course it's worth it, and it's not that expensive, compared to, we just booked a holiday in Greece, and the price difference between going to Greece and going to Peru is not hugely different, to be honest. So yeah, so I would say the retreat structure is definitely worth it, and if you can afford it, and if you feel the call to do it, I think it's like a no-brainer. It's paradise. Of course, it's expensive, and I think you can have super profound experiences at home. But it's like, we've got to be like realistic. Like, the rainforest is better than my bedroom. It just is, So I would always choose the rainforest over my bedroom.
I would too, but I mean, for the people that don't have the means to do that, then there are certain things you can do to make it as close to the authentic experience as possible, and intention is a good thing, and the setting, I mean, when we do like mushrooms at home, we adopt a lot of the stuff that we've learned from Peru, like the smudging and some of the songs that we use and stuff like that, the fruit at the end, and so
Okay, let's see what else we got. So, So yeah, someone was asking regarding the purge. I'm wondering if it's not too much purge. It's not, mate.
I've purged twice out of 12 times.
Yeah, the purge, I think, is something that gets probably a bit too overhyped in regards to it. It just becomes it's not that big a deal when you get into it. It seems like it when you first looking into it, because it's this just weird aspect.
But I mean, the way that some people say like La Purga is like the whole thing. You've not failed if you don't purge. Like you can purge in many ways as well. You don't have to vomit, Like my purge is always tears.
And poo.
And poo, yeah, often poo. But the main one is tears. Like, yeah, just, you know.
It's poo.
It is sometimes poo. And I've vomited twice. But like, yeah, you know, it doesn't necessarily, you don't have to feel like, oh God, I didn't throw up, so I haven't got all my bad demons out or whatever. That's not the case. You can purge them in however way you want.
Yeah,
as long as it's coming out of your body, it's purging.
Well, as long as it's coming out of your soul, basically, isn't it? That's it can be an emotional purging. Crying is seen as a purge and stuff.
That's my favourite one.
Yeah. So, a question from Andromeda. What are your thoughts on LSD versus DMT? I don't think there is necessarily a versus there. I think they're very different.
It's like apples and oranges.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, the most obvious one is the duration.
DMT, you've not got a lot of time. Or
DMT.
You want to commit.
Yeah, DMT you can do on your lunch break. I mean, that's not me advocating doing it on your lunch break. I'm saying you could do.
LSD is a commitment, but it's obviously it's more of a story that you can. It's more tangible as well. I mean, I've never taken an immense dose of LSD, so I don't know what the paralyzing doses are like. But the ones I've taken, you know, you can make more sense of it. You know, more of a narrative that you can remember the next day. Whereas DMT, you know, unless you video yourself rambling after you come around, then it's forgotten in the morning because it's so bizarre and so intense and so extreme.
Yeah, and also, I mean, you can have a recreational experience with LSD, and I'd say DMT, all you can do is
get your ass kicked.
Well, I think at the very least with DMT, you're having like a what the fuck, and then at the very extremes, you're having a what the fuck. You know,
you can't just sort of, you know, have a laugh with your friends on DMT. I mean, when you smoke DMT, you're gone out of your space anyway. So it's a solo activity, and that's one big difference. LSD can be very, very social. Yeah,
I mean, I've done like LSD and gone camping, and like, you know, you sit next to a lake and you watch the sunset, and it's beautiful. And yeah, I don't think you could really do that with.
You have to take turns on DMT.
Yeah. Although that said, so there's a guy in the chat comments called Minty who's been investigating some new interesting ways of vaporizing DMT, because one of the challenges around DMT is just being able to get enough of it into with this 3-talk structure. So yeah, we'll have to see how that turns out. Very interesting in your findings there, Minty. But I'd say that the main thing around DMT versus LSD is just that time commitment. It's that duration. So for that reason, we've not done LSD much at all, and I think at least since we became parents anyway. Yeah. Because it's not something you can really easily fit into, say, like a Friday night. Whereas DMT you can fit into any night, and even mushrooms you can fit into a night. You know, you got this like 3 to 4 hours.
Still get some sleep.
Yeah, LSD with its sort of like 6.
It goes on all night, doesn't it? So.
Yeah, it's like being on speed or something. So it's that's where we do it. I can see a situation where I'd try LSD and explore it more. Maybe when the kids.
Or something like
I've done about a festival. I'll have to see. I think for a festival I'd do the what's it called?
2CB.
2CB. Yeah, that's what I'd probably do. Okay, so I'll just do a couple more questions before we do the giveaway. So someone's asking can I pick your brains a bit? Just to sort of reiterate, if anyone's got any questions then by all means just drop me an email, adeptuspsychonautica@gmail.com, and I will.
You've got your subreddit, haven't
you? Subreddit or Discord as well, so feel free to come and pick my brains. Milan says, I think DMT and LSD bring you to the same place if the dose of LSD is big enough. Yeah, so I think that's true of all psychedelics, Milan. I think we've noticed with mushrooms that you can get very close to that sort of DMT ayahuasca space. Yeah. And I think I did a video actually called like This Was Utterly Amazing, where I talk about breaking through into like the DMT space from mushrooms. So I think with a lot of these tryptamine psychedelics, you end up in the same place. It's definitely possible. Okay, so I think hopefully I've covered everyone's questions. If I'm not, then I'm really sorry. So right, let's work out how we're going to do this giveaway thing.
I'm just going to point at the screen.
Right, so I think what you should do is, so I can see the live chat down here, and if you point somewhere in the screen, just close your eyes and point somewhere in the screen, and then I'll do like a random of the thing, and whoever your finger lands on.
Random scrolling.
Yeah, ready? So you close your eyes. Okay, so good luck, everyone. We're going to do the sort of the picking now for the thing. Right, I'll guide your finger. Right, just sort of stick your finger forwards.
Well, I'm going to pick where I put it, so I'll wiggle it around.
Okay. Okay, right, so you're on there. Okay, so now I'll scroll up and down randomly. I'm going to go all the way up to the top.
Your eyes closed also.
No, I'm not looking. I'll go all the way to the top. I'm going to hold it down. Okay, good luck, everybody, and let's see where we...
Who have I got?
Cat Daddy.
Congratulations, Cat Daddy.
Cat Daddy is the winner of the Chrysanthescope. So, Cat Daddy, if you want to, send me a message, email me. Send me an email to Adeptus Psychonautica @gmail.com. It's in the channel banner, but Adeptus Psychonautica @gmail.com. Send me an email with your address, and yeah, mate, we'll get one sent out to you. And guys, if you didn't win, I'm going to be doing more. I'm probably going to do the same thing every time I do one of these streams because.
And you can also buy them.
Yeah, you can also buy one if you want to. Yeah, that supports the channel. But for those of you who just went, I just realised I've been studying with like the top half on, half off. No, you didn't tell me. I look like a tool. So, okay. Right, cool, guys. It's been awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you for coming on and sharing your experiences. Guys, it's been awesome. I hope you've enjoyed this stream. I hope you've been enjoying the recent videos. Let me know. I suppose I do just want to touch quickly on the one I released today. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how I think the David Icke fans are going to flip out a bit on this one, but we'll see. I've already had a few people like, I'm so disappointed in you. I'm like, unsubscribe. It's like, okay, you weren't the audience then. But anyway, for all you guys who do enjoy it, I do appreciate it. You know, I really appreciate all you guys. I appreciate you interacting. So thank you so much. Anybody who wants to ask me anything, send me an email, drop into Discord, drop onto the subreddit. There is sometimes a bit of a time lag between when I answer these things just because I've got a lot of messages coming in from different places at the moment. If you're around on Tuesday night, drop into the stream. It's going to be on Destiny stream on Twitch for any guys who use Twitch. But for anybody who doesn't, I'll be uploading it afterwards anyway. So, yeah, thanks a lot. And as I say, we're going to have a quick break because we're going to go on holiday. Right, cool. Right, see you later, guys. Love yous.